When he was 19, he was enlisted into the army and sent to Abyssinia in Africa. This was a horrific experience. If you were captured, you were tortured in the most horrendous way. Things like removing a limb or removing a testicle. The officer in charge told them to make sure they always kept one bullet in their gun for themselves in case they were captured. I can't imagine how you get over the fear of such a gruesome experience. When the war was over, there was very little work in Italy. He decided that Australia was where he wanted to go, so he contacted his uncle who had been in Australia for some time. His uncle sponsored him, and in 1939, at age 25, he immigrated and settled in Atherton. In 1940, during World War II, Allied prisoners of war of German, Italian and Japanese origin were brought to internment camps for fear of enemy attack, spying or espionage. Dad was taken to an internment camp in Chinchilla, where he worked as a cook. He said they treated him well, but he was in a new country and living with strangers. It was all so new. In 1947, at age 33, he married my mum. Together they purchased property in Atherton. They seemed to have nothing but bad luck, and so kept selling and buying a new property to see if their luck would change. They moved 13 times in their married life. As a young girl, I remember so well my father being upset because despite their constant hard work, there was no money and nothing seemed to go right. One night I recall him putting his fist through the wall of our farmhouse during one of his worst moments. A vision I can never forget was going to the Cairns Base Hospital and seeing my dad on the bed after having shock treatment. Well, it looked like my dad, but it wasn't really my dad. It was a person just lying there staring into space. When he was feeling good, he was happy, and at parties he would be at the bar with his friends, drinking and singing. We were always the last to leave. But when he was down, it was horrible, and at the time I couldn't understand why he was like that. I learned that I had to watch what I said, and did so because I didn't want to make him angry. I tried so hard to please him and make him happy, and would always try and joke with him. In 1971, Mum and Dad retired and moved into town. They took up old-time dancing, playing bingo, bowls and going to the markets. He travelled to Italy several times, and a lot of this time was spent in hospital there. He would try anything to get better. By the time I married, he seemed to be a little better. However, my mum often told me that he had had a bad week, or that he had lost his temper playing cards, or someone had said something that really upset him. As an adult, I realised that he was suffering from depression. But not because he spoke about it. You see, that generation just didn't speak about it. It was almost a shame, so you kept it quiet. There was no way I could say, Dad, please talk to someone, as that would only have upset him even more. He always feared that he had cancer. When he was young, he had watched 2 of his aunts in Italy die of cancer. There was no treatment for cancer back then, and he watched as the cancer ate away at their bodies, one losing an ear, another parts of the face. Dad always felt sick in the stomach and believed he had cancer. Several tests, several trips to specialists always proved there was nothing, but he didn't believe them. He was very afraid of dying. Around Christmas of 1994, my mum had a fall and was on crutches. They discovered that she had osteoporosis and was told that it would take a long time to heal. My dad went downhill after that. He became more and more depressed. The fear of losing Mum or having her become an invalid was more than he could bear. He would wander around the garden and Mum could see that he was in his own world. He was worrying because he felt he was not getting better. His doctor kept on changing his medication. And finally on Friday, 17th of March 1995, his doctor gave him a sample pack of another antidepressant, told my dad and Mum, I will give you this medication to try. And if it doesn't work on Monday, I will send you to see a psychiatrist. On the Saturday night, he played cards happily with his friends. The next morning, Sunday 19th of March, while my mum went to church, he took his gun, drove a kilometre down the road and took his life. I will never forget the phone call that morning to say Dad was missing. The sick feeling in my stomach as we drove to Atherton. Seeing my dad's ute parked by the road and running out of the car and actually stopped by a policeman who held me and told me I could not see Dad as a gun had been used. It took me more than 10 years to drive past that spot again. A big part of my healing was reading up on medications and the signs and symptoms of depression and the use of antidepressants. Dad had a lot of those symptoms: stomach problems, unhappy, constant pacing, decreased sleep, anxiety, not able to concentrate, the feeling of restlessness and not being able to control it, the feeling of worthlessness and hopelessness and feeling guilty, which would make him stop up and move on when things got too hard. He just kept moving, hoping to find a better place. Dad worried about everything, and it seemed that he just could not control that worrying feeling. I also learned that, I am talking about 1995, and I know medications have changed, but at the time I learned you should not constantly change antidepressants. I believe Dad went through, I think it was about 6 or 7 brands in a matter of a month. What really disturbed me was the comment, I will give you this drug, and if it doesn't work, then I will send you to a psychiatrist. When my mum and I went to talk to Dad's doctor, he was very distressed, and I knew he was afraid we were thinking of suing him. I told him outright that suing him would not bring my father back. All the money in the world would not bring my father back. We just wanted him to be aware, to hopefully save someone else's life. Doctors are human. They make mistakes like all of us. I am relieved that in most cases these days the treatment starts at talking, then the medication follows, or a combination of both, just as it should be. Why does the man who was so afraid of dying take his life? It took me so long to come to terms with it. I spent many hours talking to my doctor, a psychiatrist, a counsellor, and without these wonderful people, I don't know where I would be today. All I can say is, don't be embarrassed about depression. Talk about it. Make people aware of what is going on inside your head. Because as the beautiful Dr. Mark Bestman explained, if you had a broken leg, people can see it. If you have cancer, people can see it. But no one can see depression, so they struggle to understand. We also need to change the mindset of people who do not understand depression. 2 of the most hurtful comments that were made about my dad were, how could he do such a cowardly thing? And another person looked at Dad, a photo of Dad where he was smiling, and said, look at him smiling. How could he do what he did to his family? They just didn't understand. You also need to talk about it to your family, because I am living proof of the effect it can have on your family. I too have depression, and sometimes it's hard to talk about what you're feeling. A few years ago, there was an incident in my life that caused me to lose my confidence and my self-esteem. And I can honestly say that I hit rock bottom, reaching the point of thinking, is life really worth it? What got me through was being able to talk to the wonderful caring doctor, a counsellor who I admire so much, my beautiful supporting family, and so many great friends who constantly popped in to check on me. I was so lucky to have all these people to help me come out of the dark place I had gone to. If I had been asked 4 years ago to get up and talk in front of you, I could not have done it. I do it today in honour of 2 wonderful men, my dad and Dr. Mark Bestman. Thank you.